overview page where you can find all your projects back as individual line items. At the top you can find some general information about all your projects put together, like in which stage they are. You can sort them by type, and you can see general information about the total budget of all your projects and what has been invoiced already. Similar information you can find back in the line item of the particular project. For example, here you can see that 26% of the project is already invoiced. You can see which of the milestones have been ticked off and any comments that are left, the latest comments on this project. Now, if we dive into one of these projects, for example, this one, well, this is the project page, which consists of several elements. At the top, you can find back the service providers, and you can see that there's actually one active RFP for a painter. You can see the bids are due by the end of May, that 3 out of 3 bidders have responded, and that actually already 3 of 3 have provided their bid. Now, this request for proposal for this painter, you can find it back in the cost tracker as well, as a line item where the budget is set to 250k, and the moment you instruct one of the bidders, you can find that amount back in committed, and once they start invoicing, you can find that back on invoiced and whatever is pending or remaining. In the milestone sections, you can see different deadlines related to this project. The site visit and questions to be submitted by dates are actually also part of the RFP for the painter. Next, you have a general description of the project, and below that the project files, which you can sort into different folders, for example photos, and these are general documents. You can download everything at once, or you can create a new folder. It's very flexible. Now, if we dive into the RFP, you find the project description, which you will share with the bidding contractors. You can add deadlines to the timing section, most important of which is the bid due date. So when would you like to receive the bids? And in the document section, you can either upload new documents or you can select documents from your project page. In this case, we've selected them all. The next step is the bid form, or the pricing schedule. We've divided the works into pre-treatment and painting works, which we've given a separate color, a different color, simply to have an easy distinguishment between pre-treatment and painting, because they're actually the same items that you find back in both sections. Here you can specify per quantity unit. You can indicate the line items as being mandatory or not. In this case, the bid form is already submitted, of course, because the bids have already been received, but you can reopen it, make any changes you like, and resubmit it if you like. Next to the pricing schedule, you can indicate any options, and this icon here means that you can either include or exclude it from your RFP. You can specify preliminaries, you can ask for hourly rates, in this case it's excluded. Overheads and profits, bidder additions, alternates, exclusions, this is actually input from the bidding contractor. You can specify any requirements that they need to agree to, for example general terms and conditions, which the bidder is asked to tick off. And a schedule, you can include a schedule where you ask the bidder to provide their expected start and end dates. Now if we go to manage bids, you can see that 3 bidders have been invited, and they've all provided their price. But before they provided their price, they actually had a few questions, which they asked using the Q&A. So you can see that 2 different contractors asked these questions, and as a client you can either answer them directly yourself when you receive it, or you can assign the question to a colleague who might be more suited to answer that question. Once the answer is published, that means that both the question and the answer are sent to all the bidding companies, but all anonymously, so their bidders would never know from each other who is bidding. In messages, you have direct one-to-one messaging with the bidding company, and this allows you to send a message to all bidders at once or to a selection of them. Then you find an overview of the bids received, the total value. You can see when it's been submitted, how well they completed the bid form, and how many requirements they ticked off, and how many documents, which documents they provided. Now, if we compare the bids, you can actually see a detailed breakdown. You can see per line item who provided the cheapest bid. You can compare all of this to your own budget, which you can manually fill in and change. So you can say, well, the budget for this line item was actually 15K. Let's see how that compares to the other ones. You can manually override any item, and the original value will always be here. So the bids will never change, but you, for internal exercise, can actually override and change the bids. Further down, you can find back the other sections such as prelims, additions, exclusions, any suggestions. Our running construction actually provided a suggestion to phase the project. You can see the overhead and profit, 6%, 5%, etc. Here you can see that Robert Allen Zimmerman actually did not agree with the general terms and conditions, but he provided a comment. In the comment you can see further information why they didn't approve. Here you can find back how long they think it will take to complete the works, and here you can download any documents that they sent with their proposal. And finally, you can export everything to Excel.